Hey everybody, this is Glenn with a special introduction to this week's episode. This episode of For Pete's Sake is the first and probably the only episode that we're making available in video form. Pete and I didn't initially plan on this being a video. I would have fixed my hair if I had known, but we start out by reviewing our 2025 Spotify Wrapped for Creators, and we wanted to be able to share that, visuals included, with all of you. This video is posted in our YouTube channel, linked in the show notes, and uploaded to podcast platforms. As always, thank you for listening. It is Wednesday, December 10th, and as always, I'm here with my friend Pete. How you doing?
What's up, Glenn? I'm hanging in there. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I thought one of the things I wanted to do today was, there's Spotify Wrapped. I don't know if you're a Spotify user and you get Spotify Wrapped, but this is my first year getting Spotify Wrapped for Creators.
Ah.
You're a creator. I'm a creator. Let's.
Well, you're the real creator.
I don't think so. I don't know. You're the talent. So we're gonna see what it does here. Now I don't know if it has audio as part of it, but let's see. We're gonna do this. All right. It's loading. Can you see my screen, by the way?
I can see it. Yep.
Terrific.
So we got Wrapped for Creators. We got that For
Look
Pete's
at this
Sake photo.
Yeah, my mouse leaves a cool kind of drawing trail. Okay,
Trails.
let's go.
Yeah.
2025. This was quite the year for us. All right, I gotta scroll down. This year, one episode rose above the rest.
Ooh, let's.
Our top episode was Introduction. Played 87% more than I guess a lot of. We got a lot of traffic to the first Spotify thing. We're still quoting it. All right, great.
I hope that doesn't mean that a bunch of people listened to the first one and then said, "This is boring."
That's enough for me. I don't need any more. Your listening passport got a real workout. 4 countries reached overall. Interesting.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Well, Switzerland for sure.
Brazil, Australia, Switzerland, and the United States. So we got a Brazilian fan and an Australian fan in addition to Switzerland in the 2 spot.
Wow. Australia and Brazil, I can't. I do not know.
Well, shout out to our listeners in Australia and Brazil. We appreciate you, and we're glad you're here. Our show made it to the top of many fans' lists. We're a top 10 show for 66 people. That's kind of cool.
Huh.
It's kind of cool. I did
no.
hear some people reached out for to show me in their Spotify Wrap that there's a podcast section. We were the top podcast for them. So one of those 37 for whom we're the number one show. It's pretty
well.
cool.
We've got some loyal fans out there. There's no question about it. God bless them.
Absolutely. That will keep us going. And they stream 1.3x more than everybody else. So just, there's only so much content to stream, and I think even our non-top fans tend to go past the introduction. But what do I know? 40% binged 2+ episodes in a day.
I've talked to a few of those people.
Yeah. And 25% of them hit play within 24 hours. We know that our early Wednesday morning crew. In fact, today was the first Wednesday morning I didn't have the thing queued up right at 6 a.m. I woke up out of bed and I was like, oh gosh, I got something to do. But hopefully the hour and 15 minutes it took to get the episode up wasn't too vexing for folks.
I thought you set that up automatically. I didn't know you had to get up special for it.
Well, I do, but we didn't lock in the interview. I was still waiting, I think, for approval, and I got distracted last night and didn't set it up.
I only got one text this morning about the pod.
Yeah.
And it was at 9:10 a.m. from my good friend Jeff Kahn's high school buddy. We go all the way back to 7th grade, as a matter of fact. Lives in Chicago. So he's on Chicago time, so it was 8:10 his time, and
Yeah.
he had listened to the
Yeah.
pod in
So we
full
got it out
already.
in time for him. Good, good, good.
We got it out in time.
All right. All right. We're almost at the end here. So that's dedication. Is that the end of our thing? Our fans have great taste. Here's what else they're listening to: Taylor Swift, Fleetwood Mac, Morgan Wallen, Eminem, and hey, Mount Joy. Look, I
Mount
wonder
Joy
if
makes the
we
list. Okay,
our
hopefully we
finger
played a
on the
role in that.
scales a little bit there. Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that T Swift is driven significantly by my daughter Lily.
Could be Lily and
Yeah.
Lily's friends. The top audiobooks of our fans are Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney, Conflict by David Petraeus and Andrew Roberts,
Yeah.
The House of My Mother by Sherry Franca, Staying on the Path by Dr. Wayne W. Dwyer, and A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Moss.
Huh.
Very interesting. Have you read any of these
I've
books?
read Conflict.
Okay.
We have some high intellects on this podcast. I mean,
Seriously.
that's probably part of the reason they get bored with us is they're like, you guys are too pedestrian for me.
Yes. Yes. Lowbrow. And then the other podcasts that people listen to, our fans listen to, there's one called Office Ladies, which looks very produced. There's The Daily, which I think is a Telegram.
That's New York Times.
That's New York Times. The Tripod with TRY. There's the All In podcast. Oof. And the Ezra Klein Show. Actually.
Yeah, All In with Chama Papapatia. I used to think that guy was smart. Now I think he's just
below
a rich
my
guy
line. He's below my line.
Wants to be more rich. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, that was super cool. Okay, you might want to frame this. What's this? Fans listen to you for longer than 83% of other shows. Interesting. I think that means we're like top 17% of Spotify podcasts. That's how I'm going to choose to interpret this.
I like it. I like it. I think it means that our fans are particularly sticky. They're interested in hearing from us. I'm not sure our breadth is all that great, but that's okay.
Our debut season was more popular than 88% of other new shows.
Okay.
That's cool. It's a top 12% thing. A 2025 most shared shows. You receive more shares than 93% of other shows. Wow.
That's saying something. I've heard from, not from the people with whom the show was shared, but I've heard through the grapevine, like I share it with this guy that I know and that guy that I know and my friend's mother had ALS or whatever. It's obviously we got a lot of personal content in here that can.
Well, and it means a lot that people are not only listening, but then taking the time to bring it, to someone else in their lives. So that feels really good.
Well, as much fun as we have doing the pod, and we're not like just chirping into a cave somewhere. I mean, it feels good to know that a reasonable number of people are positively impacted and affected by the directness of our dialogue.
Absolutely. Could there be more? All right. Your phone's your story. Let them in on the win. So we can share this. All right. So I will include this in the show notes so other people can I think it'll just work for them. That's what we're going to try. But
yep.
That was cool. That was super cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that was something I was saving for us to look at, but it exceeded my expectations.
Some good data points.
Absolutely.
It'd be interesting to see because I think a lot of people consume their podcasts on Apple Podcasts also. I know we get some of that data, but
we do.
Not as granular as this.
Yeah, no, and not as sort of storytelling as this. Let's take a look, actually, and we're going to go click through our analytics there. So I can share direct access with you. This is something we've talked about. We can follow up if that's something you're interested in. And I always scroll right past the on Spotify part and go to all platforms. And so we can see that healthy spike every Wednesday.
Yeah, sort of every episode, yeah.
Spikes right after we get about 60 plus listeners on Wednesday, and then a kind of trickle through the rest of the week. There's a little bit of maybe a weekend hump there. It's pretty consistent shape, but we've got 1,562 streams all time. So on our way to 2,000 streams. That's
And how many shows have we done? Like,
15. The 15th episode dropped this morning. So your interview with your son Mike was number 15.
but that's not reflected here, right? Yeah, correct?
I think it is,
Yeah.
because it just dropped this morning. So this upward line here, you can see we've already got 20 today. We had 21 people listen to the Mike episode, 5 listen to Lily, and 1 listen to Going to Church.
Oh, interesting. But so if we take 40 off the top and say it's 1542 on 12 shows,
Yeah.
well, it's more than 100 listeners per show. Am I missing something?
Yeah, it looks
about
like
right. Yeah.
it says our audience size is
Oh,
120.
120. I got you.
That feels ballpark right. So yeah, we should feel good that we're connecting with a lot of people from a lot of different places, and a lot of different reasons for these connections. But we all still have these connections. Excellent. Well, that was super cool. Any news from your side, Pete, as we approach the?
Well, yeah, I've got some news, but I've got a curveball for you today, Glenn.
Okay.
I'm gonna kick it off with a little. We've talked about it a couple of times. Our sort of origin story of how we became friends, but just as a refresher,
Yeah.
I saw you on the train one day in, I don't know, 2019. And you were fiddling around with your little electronic keyboard and
Mm-hmm.
geeking out on something that looked pretty cool.
Yes.
And I surmised that you were a keyboard player of some sort. You looked like a cool enough guy, and so I walked up to you at South Station and said, and hit you up, and we chatted. We exchanged information, and we agreed that we were going to try and connect and play some music. That was like in November, December. Our schedules didn't quite meet, and then
It was pre-COVID
March,
too.
March 15th
Yeah.
rolls around and the world shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to after COVID, and I don't know, you still, like we hadn't seen each other really.
Yeah, since that
And
moment.
I had, for whatever reason, I had saved the email. I'm like, oh, those guys still, and I emailed you, and so we reconnected in 2022, I
Yeah,
guess,
2022, 2023, somewhere in there.
and became bandmates and hung around a lot playing gigs
Yeah.
and had a nice time with each other. We happened to live, I don't know, within like a half mile from each other,
Yep.
as luck would have it. But we didn't really socialize or whatever. We were band friends.
Yeah.
And then I got diagnosed, and it took a little while for me to share that information with people, but I eventually shared it with the band. And you had and continue to have a reaction that is deep and meaningful to me personally, and it's affected you. And I get a lot. I give you some grief from time to time about I'm the talent on this show, but the reality is I got a lot of friends of mine who are like, who is this guy Glenn? Man, he's really really good as the MC or the
Yeah.
band director or whatever. And I tell people a little bit about you, but I think we should flip the script a little bit and talk about you for a minute. My
Jeez.
my personal interest is to understand a little more deeply on the why and the how I've affected you the way I
Sure.
have. I mean, I've got lots of people in my life who I was, sort of friends with who didn't, you came to me and said, hey, how about we do like an oral history and record a bunch of stuff for your kids?
Yeah.
Like you weren't, you don't care about my oral history. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but you were thinking about me and my family and legacy and all that stuff. And I said, that's a great idea. And then you had a better idea to say, let's do a podcast. And I don't do anything other than log into this session that we have and, pontificate.
Right.
And you do all the editing and getting it set up and all the tech work. And it's not nothing.
Yeah,
And so thank you for that. First of all, I don't know that I've ever formally said so, but again, I'm curious the how and the why you've had
sure,
this
sure.
reaction.
All right. Well, we got to wind it back a little bit because I mean, as folks have probably figured out, my nerdy demeanor has been recognized in previous episodes, but I'm definitely a technology geek. I think I probably empathize most with your son, Mike, and
Yep.
his engineeringness. And there's lots of actually things I want to follow up with him about because I think we have a lot of stuff in common. But kind of at the age of 12 or 13, and this would be 1989, I discovered computers. Like my cousin Todd showed me. He introduced me to cars. He introduced me to keyboards and synthesizers, and he introduced me to computers. So
Yeah.
he has had this major impact on the course and the trajectory of my life. But
Yep.
I'm like, man, this thing is way better than Nintendo. What? I can have it use a phone line and go download pirated games for free. Like this is the best thing in the world. So at the age of 12, that's where I was. I got a paper route, Pete, because back then that was a thing a kid could do. And I
Yep.
saved up the $1,000 and bought my first PC. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I wanted to get into computers and tech. And I was never the best tech guy or the smartest programmer. I was kind of always like, well, I'm a little bit into the visual arts and a little bit into the programming and a little bit into the music. And so I've always kind of been a little bit of a jack of all trades, or I'm sure there's other words that you could use to qualify that sort of like a little bit of everything. But
Polymath.
yeah,
Polymath would be
polymath.
the use.
Okay, all right. And so I've been making music on computers. I've been producing stuff. I've done multi-track stuff before for work, for fun. My day job, I work at a company called Jellyfish, and we are a software startup that builds software for other teams building software to help them understand what their people are doing and what projects they're working on and what projects are behind, and is it the mix changing. And so it's a very meta writing software about writing software. But I'm I'm fortunate that I also have I have a basement studio for all this music stuff. I have this nice mic setup from when we entered the COVID era, and it's like I'm going to be down here in the basement a lot on a lot of Zooms. And so it just so happened that it was kind of natural for me to be able to use these tools. It's not a lot of friction. Like as far as I'd never done a podcast before, but I definitely like recorded a bunch of audio, strung it together with a fade in and fade out of music. I've done that with making videos for my kids and that kind of stuff.
It
And
was clear to me that you figured it out pretty quickly in
yeah,
ways that I would not have. And I'm a reasonably tech savvy guy, but not nowhere near, you
right.
know.
It was just, there was only one small step I had to do. And even that, I made some wrong decisions when I was first doing the podcast. I remember a friend of mine, Steph, who I'd connected with and shared the podcast with. He's like, my Android device, it's just a bunch of silence. I can't figure it out. And also your episode files are way too big. And so I dug into it with him and found out I'm uploading in a format that's like lossless and only compatible with Apple devices. And so he, again, it's been a learning experience for me. But I mean, really, the reason was, you shared your news with me of your diagnosis, and I wanted, like, is there anything I could do to help? Right? That's kind of like, this sucks. This guy has been dealt a shit hand. Is there anything that I can do to make your life or the life of the people around you like a little bit better? And so this was an idea that I had, and oftentimes I'll have an idea. And it's like, I should wait till the morning to reevaluate because this may not be the best idea. And so I have a whole system of like, I'll write it down, I'll vet it with my wife, and see. She'll be like, no, definitely don't do that. But in
Well,
this,
it could be a little awkward to go to the guy and say, "Hey, dude, like you're going to die, so do you want to try to record some stuff before that happens?" I mean,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
Of
But
course, you knew me well enough to know that doesn't
yeah,
you could throw anything at me.
well, and we were still getting together on the regular for music stuff, right? So it
Yes,
was
yep.
like, okay, well, next time I see Pete, I'll ask him, and here's how I'll ask him in this way, so it doesn't come off the way that you just described. But I had a lot of uncertainty about it, and it's like, well, is this even a good idea? But I think in retrospect, like what I didn't anticipate, like I didn't think of a podcast at first, and I didn't think about connecting with all these different people in different ways, and the fact that it would be sticky, and that other people be sharing it with others and encouraging their kids to listen to it too. So I think it definitely it started with the little seed of an idea as like, hey, it wouldn't be too much for me to do this thing, and it seems like it could be helpful. So why don't I ask, right? Why don't I kind of just like when you were thinking about why don't you email me after 3 years after we met? It's like put yourself out there, right?
Yeah, right, right.
And so that's how we got to this point. But it really means a lot to me that you're thankful and appreciative of the work I do. And again, the reason I do it is because it feels like at some point it flipped like this is the right thing to do. This is what I should be doing right now. And an analog for that I heard is we had, back in November, we had that big gig at Ray's, and the other members of the band were like, this is where I was meant to be. Like I'm meant to be right here, right now this night. And so that doesn't always happen. And when it does happen, I think you gotta lean into it.
Yeah, take advantage of it. Agreed. Yeah, that's it's funny. I maybe I've mentioned this in the past, but people for the best of reasons, will say to me, "Hey, what can I do to help?" And I don't even know how to answer that question. Like be a friend, or I mean, I'm thankful that they're asking, but the better way to do it is the way you did it, which is to say, I want to help. Here's how I think I can help, and came to me with hey, I think this could be pretty cool if you'd like to do it.
Yeah.
And you've made it, amazingly easy.
Yeah.
And I got, I don't think she'd mind me saying this. I got a lovely WhatsApp message from my mother-in-law who lives in Zurich and has been listening. And the Swiss keep things pretty close to the vest.
Yeah.
And she said, I've learned so much about you and, a bunch of stuff about me, but also said, and I've learned a few things about myself. And
Wow.
She didn't elaborate. And I plan to follow up as appropriate, but like that,
yeah,
it didn't quite make me want to cry, but I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It is surprising. I think you and I have a rapport where I can, be pretty blunt or phrase like the way I just phrased it,
yeah.
a couple of minutes ago, because you understand my I need a little dark humor to
Absolutely
keep me rolling from time to time. And I think that the directness of the message has resonated with people, and that so for all of our listeners, to whatever degree Glenn and I are helpful entertainment, or what it's not really entertainment, but helpful in the things we talk about, I can certainly say that it's been enormously helpful to me just to do these sessions. Never mind to know that like people are impacted by them. It gets them to think. It gets them to reconsider some things or consider things they hadn't considered, or whatever, strengthen relationships. That's been powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our relationship has continued to grow and deepen as a result of the fact that we do this. Like if we weren't doing this, I probably would. These are like 15 times I wouldn't have had conversations with you. Maybe I would have one or two. It's like, oh, it's been a while since I've had. So it's like I treasure like the fact that we get to connect. It makes me reflective. I've certainly gone through the same thing that your mother-in-law has gone through, as I've learned more from you and the guests that we've had. And it's scary, right? It's like, what's going to happen next? Like, and I try not to worry about that. There's going to be plenty of time for me to shed tears about this thing, but that's not what the moment needs right now. I think the moment now is our chance to continue to tell stories and make connections, and so this feels great. I'm going to keep doing it. Thank you so much for turning the tables. I didn't expect that at all.
I like to throw a little curveball every once in a while, but you're a good man for doing this. You're a good human being, and
I appreciate that.
It's not unnoticed.
And a lot of folks at that last show at Ray's, a lot of folks I didn't know were coming up to me and sharing exactly that same message, which it means a lot. So, yeah, and all that means we'll keep doing it. We got to think of some more guests to have. We got to think of some more ideas for episodes.
Now that you mentioned some, I have had. So this is a request out to our listeners who are friends with my wife, Lynn, and have her cell phone number, which I probably shouldn't give out on the
No, definitely
podcast,
not.
but you know who you are. I have invited her on the podcast a few times, and she's given me the old, yeah, let's think about it, which in Lynn translation expert that I am says, yeah, I don't think so, because she doesn't think she has anything to add. And I told her that it's not for her to decide, that I'm the talent on this show and I get to decide, as is Glenn. So please text Lynn and say, why have you not been a guest on the podcast? Because
She's welcome anytime. She's
of
welcome
course,
anytime.
we'll even do a special episode if we have
absolutely.
to.
Absolutely.
The one other thing I'll say is that I realized this over the summer, because I had all sorts of plans about, I was in my health team said, you appear to be a slow progressor. And so I had plans for how long I was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, those plans got fast forwarded rapidly. And I have, declined pretty meaningfully in the last 60 days. And the takeaway for me is I don't control the timing of this thing. So I'm going to, cherish every opportunity. I don't mean to be foreboding like something tragic's about to happen, because it's not.
Yeah.
But, we don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows how this thing will play out from a timing standpoint. And
right.
So let's smoke them as we got them, as they say.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a wrap. We were just kind of catching up and didn't know if this would be an episode or not. But this was great, Pete.
What do you know? We managed to pull it out every time.
We pulled it out.
Well, thank you again from the bottom of my heart, because it's much appreciated. I don't want to over dramatize it, but I don't want to understate it either.
Well, it means a lot to me too, and thank you for finding time and space to do this with me, because it matters. All right, that's it. Till next time.
All right, look forward to it. Thanks, partner.